Good afternoon, everybody. How is everyone doing? Back with the legal reasoning session on understanding free consent. Yesterday we were done with coercion and undue influence, and today we will complete the rest three. I hope I'm audible. I hope I'm audible. I'll wait for another 2-3 minutes for everyone to join up, and then we'll begin with the session. Voice is a bit low. I'm speaking a bit low. Am I audible? Because I'll speak in this pitch. Now am I audible? Now am I audible? ठीक है. I want everyone to join up fast, and then we'll begin with the session. Yesterday, we started with consent, and amongst consent, we completed 2 of the factors, which were coercion and undue influence. And today, we will be starting with fraud, section 17. Who all are there here? Mark your presence, please. Just drop me a hi, good afternoon, anything. I just want to know who all are here. Pooja is here. Pure Soul is here. Mark your presence, then we'll begin. Okay, chalo. Now we'll start with the session. We'll be starting with fraud today. Can anybody tell me what do you understand by the term fraud? Fraud. In layman language, if anybody tells you that the fraud has been committed, then what will you understand by that? What do you understand by fraud? Layman language में बताओ. I don't need any technical terms. Layman language. What do you understand by fraud? बताओ. डिसीविंग. ठीक है. धोखा देना. That is what we understand from fraud, right? To cheat somebody, that is what is called as fraud, right? Fraud include acts intended to deceive, such as deceive का मतलब होता है धोखा देना. Anything that you do to deceive somebody is called as fraud. And these are the certain acts that are involved in fraud. The first one is suggesting a false fact knowingly. आप किसी को एक गलत फैक्ट बता रहे हो पता होते हुए कि आप वो गलत चीज उसको बोल रहे हो, राइट? दैट मीन्स क्लियरली झूठ बोलना. हिंदी में बता रही हूं, lying, right? Suggesting a false fact knowingly, lying about something, lying in the transaction, right? That is what is called as suggesting a false fact knowingly, one of the parts of fraud, right? The another one is actively concealing a fact. Concealing का मतलब छुपाना. आपको कोई बात पता है, आप वो disclose नहीं कर रहे हो, that the other person is bound to know that fact, right? That is छुपाना. Right? Concealing, hiding a fact which the other person is bound to know. That is what is called as hiding. That is also another part of fraud. Hiding a fact which the other party should know, right? That is actively concealing a fact, hiding something from the other party, right? The third thing is making a promise without intending to perform it. आप किसी को प्रॉमिस कर रहे हो जबकि आपका इंटेंशन है ही नहीं उस एक्ट को परफॉर्म करने का. नो इंटेंशन, विदाउट इंटेंडिंग टू परफॉर्म इट. नो इंटेंशन टू परफॉर्म द एक्ट. For the just mere sake of entering into the transaction, you are entering into this particular transaction, right? So that is making a promise without intending to perform it is the another factor of fraud, right? There is no intention. Now, any act designed to deceive, ऐसा कोई भी और act which is made solely to deceive the other person will be included in fraud. Will be included in fraud. Any act which is designed to deceive the other party, to cheat the other party, knowingly, intentionally, will be considered as fraud. Intentionally. Clear, everybody? What do you understand by fraud? Yes or no? Clear? Clear? The examples, like selling a horse while hiding its unsoundness. Let's take an example. Let's first say me and Pooja let's first say me and Pooja want to enter into a transaction where Barkha is selling a horse to Pooja, right, for 50,000 rupees. And I know that this horse is unsound. The horse is not mentally stable, which can hurt Pooja also, right? Knowing this fact, कि अगर मैंने पूजा को ये बता दिया that the horse is unsound, Pooja will not buy the horse from me. I did not tell this fact to Pooja. Did I commit fraud against Pooja? Is it an act of fraud? Is it an act of fraud? Tell me. Is it an act of fraud? Yes, because firstly, I hid a fact which is actively concealing a fact and the other person should know it, right? Secondly, I designed this act to deceive somebody. I want to cheat the other person so that she enters into the transaction with me. That is why this is totally fraud, right? Making a false promise to obtain property or money. Let's first say, I say to Pooja that Pooja, I will return you money. You give me now money, 10 lakh rupees, and I'll return it to you after 20 days, right? After 20 days. I know that I am abandoning this country. I'll leave by taking her money. Is that a fraud that I've committed against Pooja? I will be giving her some interest or something like that, and that is why Pooja readily started believing me and she said that okay, you can return me the money after 20 days. Did I deceive her? Do I have an intention to give back the money? No, right? And that is why that is also fraud. Falsely promising somebody. Clear? Now moving ahead, what are the essentials of fraud? What are the essentials of fraud, right? Most important elements. Right? Most important elements. There must be a false statement, right? There must be a false statement. आप एक false statement बोल रहे हो. If it is a true statement, then it will never be a fraud, right? True statement के साथ कभी भी fraud नहीं हो सकता. It is always a false statement, right? You are deceiving somebody, right? That is what is called as the first important essential element of fraud. There must be a false statement, right? Right? The statement should be made with the intention to deceive and induce the other party into the contract. Intention ये होना चाहिए कि आप सामने वाली पार्टी को डिसीव कर रहे हो, सामने वाली पार्टी को आप चीट करना चाहते हो. That should be your intention in committing fraud. Intention must be there. To cheat. Intention must be there to cheat. Right? Is this clear? Intention must be there to cheat the other party. To cheat the other party. When silence amounts to fraud. When silence amounts to fraud. अगर आपने कुछ नहीं बोला, how will it amount to fraud, right? When will silence amount to fraud, right? The first point, silence can be fraudulent when there is a duty to speak due to fiduciary relationships. Example, principal agent, doctor, patient, right? Let's first say, let's take an example, A, B. A is a patient and B is a doctor, right? And A went to the doctor because of some illness, right? And now doctor prescribed certain medicines to A. After prescribing the medicines, patient A asks B that I hope there are no side effects to this medicine. I hope there are no side effects to this medicine. That is what the patient asks to the doctor. That is what the patient asks to the doctor. Right? To this, the doctor remains silent. Doctor did not say anything. Remains silent. Doctor did not say anything. Right? Now, when the doctor remained silent and this patient, after reaching home, took the medicines and faced severe side effects. Now, when the patient faced severe side effects, he sued the doctor for fraud. He sued the doctor for fraud. Do you think that the doctor is liable? Do you think that the doctor is liable? Tell me, is the example clear or should I repeat the facts? Is the doctor liable? Yes, the doctor would be liable. Why? Because the patient clearly asked the doctor that I hope there are no side effects for this, and to which the doctor remained silent. Whenever there is a fiduciary relationship, a relationship of trust and faith, right? In that particular relationships, the duty to speak is with the doctor, and if the patient has asked about certain scenario and the doctor did not reply, this will amount to speech and it will be presumed that the doctor answered, and that is why the doctor will become liable. The doctor will become liable. Is it clear? Is it clear, everybody? Okay. Silence is equivalent to speech when it leads the other party to assume a fact, right? स्पीच तब माना जाएगा जब पेशेंट ने ऑटोमेटिकली एक फैक्ट को अज्यूम कर लिया, क्योंकि उसके पूछने के बावजूद भी डॉक्टर ने रिप्लाई नहीं किया. In this particular example, the patient had to assume a fact, yes, that the doctor is saying that there will be no side effects because the doctor did not reply. And that is why it will be equivalent to speech and it will be the liability of fraud. It will be the liability of fraud. Clear? Let's move ahead. Clear? Now, coming back to the next thing, which is misrepresentation. Can anybody from the name itself tell me what do you understand by the term misrepresentation? Anybody? What is misrepresentation? Misrepresentation is an innocent false representation inducing a party to enter into a contract. मतलब आपको giving false or wrong information. Somewhere you are right, Pooja. But misrepresentation is an innocent false representation. मतलब आपको भी नहीं पता था कि actual में truth क्या है. What is the truth? Right? That is what is called as misrepresentation. आपने innocently एक statement सामने वाले को दी थी through which the particular person enter into a contract. The very classic example is, let's for say I, Barkha, went to buy a iron box from a shopkeeper. ठीक है? From a shopkeeper. Now I asked that particular person, the shopkeeper, I hope that this particular iron box has no defect in it. Has no defect in it. And the shopkeeper also didn't know that that product was defective. The shopkeeper also didn't know that the iron box was defective. Will he be liable for fraud or misrepresentation? क्योंकि उसे भी नहीं पता था कि वो एक defective product है. Tell me, will he liable for fraud or will he liable for misrepresentation? बताओ. Misrepresentation? Any other answers? Misrepresentation. Okay. Okay. Yes. In this scenario, it will be misrepresentation क्योंकि आपका intention नहीं था cheat करने का. It was an innocent wrong statement that was given. आपको खुद को भी नहीं पता था that it was a defective product. अगर उसको पता होता then he would be liable for. अगर उसे पता होता कि वो defective product दे रहा है then he would have been liable for. बताओ. Then he would have been liable for fraud. Yes. Then he would have been liable for fraud agar if the person knew that the product is defective, right? So the only difference between fraud and misrepresentation is the intention. Fraud में आपका intention होता है deceive करने का, whereas in misrepresentation you do not intend to cheat the person. आप innocently एक गलत statement दे देते हो because you also don't know the truth. You also don't know the truth, actual truth, right? Conditions for misrepresentation: assertion of an untrue fact believed in to be true. आपको लगता है कि जो आप बोल रहे हो वो सच बोल रहे हो जबकि आपको actual सच नहीं पता है, right? In this case, you thought that this product is not defective. You thought that you are saying a true statement, but in all, it was a false statement, and that is why it will be misrepresentation. It will be misrepresentation. Right? Breach of duty leading to an advantage by misleading another, right? इसकी duty थी that he has to mention the correct statement, and that is why he breached his duty, due to which this particular person wrongfully lost something and this particular person wrongfully gained, right? He gained the money from the iron box. Clear? Everybody? Let's move ahead. Causing a mistake as to the substance of the agreement. आपसे कोई mistake हुई है गलती से, right? गलती से you mistakenly said a fact which you didn't know that it was a false statement. Right? Right? Everybody? Now, illustrations. Making false claims about the productivity of the land, right? Let's first say if I'm buying a land from somebody and I ask the productivity of the land. The person says that it produces 500 tons of cotton every month. But actually, it produces only 450 tons, right? The particular person also doesn't know the truth. Then he has misrepresented me, right? जब तक उस पर्टिकुलर पर्सन को भी अगर वो नहीं पता है ट्रूथ, देन इट विल बी मिसरिप्रेजेंटेशन, और अगर पता है देन इट विल बी फ्रॉड, राइट? Not disclosing changes in business conditions during negotiations, selling products with undisclosed defects, right? All these are the examples of misrepresentation. All these are the examples of misrepresentation. You're late, Janvi. Why? What happened? Why didn't you join in time? Right? Misrepresentation is clear? Everybody? Let's solve some questions before moving ahead. Right? We will solve certain questions from not well. There's no time for you to get sick now. Recover jaldi se. ALET and SLAT examinations are already out. Dates are already out. अब बीमार नहीं पड़ सकते हो, right? You cannot fall sick now. ठीक है? So now from coercion, undue influence, fraud and misrepresentation, we will solve some questions and then we will move ahead, right? Then we will move ahead with mistake. ठीक है? Under section 15 of the Indian Contract Act, coercion includes committing or threatening to commit any defect or any act forbidden by Indian Penal Code with the intent to influence a party into a contract. There is a situation. Nisha's father owns a large sum to her boss, Mr. Mehta. Mr. Mehta tells Nisha that if she doesn't sign a contract agreeing to work for him at a significantly reduced salary, he will file a legal suit against her father, which could lead to imprisonment. Fearing harm to her father, Nisha signs the contract. Nisha signs the contract. What do you think will be the answer? Can Nisha later claim that the contract was induced by coercion? अब होता क्या है, निशा के फादर एक अपने बॉस से उन्होंने वो लिया होता है द लोन, राइट? या this session is available for later also. All you have to go in our YouTube channel, live पे click करोगे, you will get the recording. All the sessions are available. इस महीने जितने भी sessions हुए, everything is available, right? Current affairs, GK, everything, right? So what happens is Nisha's father owns a large sum to her boss, Mr. Mehta. मिस्टर मेहता ने उनको बोला that if you don't sign a contract, निशा को बोला that if you don't sign a contract with me to work in a very less salary, I will make your father arrest, right, because of not returning that money, right? And now Nisha has to work for a lesser salary. She agreed because she thought that her father would be in danger. So can later she sue for coercion? Yes, because Mr. Mehta's threat against Nisha's father qualify as coercion. No, because the threat was not directed as Nisha personally. Yes, because Nisha was financially dependent on her father. No, because Mr. Mehta is legally entitled to recover his money from Nisha's father. What do you think will be the correct answer? What do you think will be the correct answer? One, okay. Baki answers. One, okay. Yes, A is the correct answer because you cannot force somebody to work in a low salary even if the Nisha's father has taken the money from you. It cannot be a measure that you can ask her to work in a low salary, right? Yes, A is the correct answer. Next question. Under Section 16 of Indian Contract Act, undue influence occurs when one party is in a position to dominate the will of the other and uses the position to obtain an unfair advantage, right? Suresh is an elderly wealthy man who depends upon his son Arjun for care and assistance with daily needs. Knowing his father's dependency on him, Arjun convinces Suresh to transfer the family property to him, arguing that this will make inheritance issues easier in future. Feeling pressured and fearing isolation, he signs the transfer deed. Suresh signs the transfer deed. Can Suresh later challenge the validity of the property transfer on the grounds of undue influence? Is this an undue influence? Yes, because Arjun took advantage of Suresh's dependency on him. No, because the property transfers were meant to simplify inheritance issues. Yes, because the elderly always have the right to reclaim property. No, because the transfer was between family members. Answers. Very easy questions. Very easy questions if you have understood the concept. Answer. One. One. Right. A is the correct answer because he took advantage of his dependency on him. Right? Fine. Moving ahead. Coercion includes not only threats of physical harm but also the unlawful detaining or threatening to detain someone's property to influence a contract. The situation is Sanjay owns a factory and has rented expensive machinery from Rajat. When Sanjay fails to pay rent for a month, Rajat locks the factory gates, preventing Sanjay from accessing the machinery and demands that Sanjay sign a contract agreeing to purchase the machinery at an inflated price. Under pressure to keep the factory running, Sanjay signs the contract. Sanjay signs the contract. Can Sanjay argue that the contract to purchase the machinery is voidable due to the coercion? Yes, because Rajat was unlawfully detained by Sanjay's rented machinery. No, because Sanjay had already failed to pay rent on time. Yes, because Rajat is on the rightful owner of the machinery. No, because Sanjay voluntarily signed the contract. Answers. Answers. One. Okay. A. Yes. This is the correct answer. A first. Why? Because Rajat unlawfully detailed Sanjay's rented from machinery. The rent could have been paid, but detaining somebody's property is never a never a solution, and that is why it is coercion. That is why it is coercion. Right? Next question. Under section 16, undue influence occurs when one party is in a position to dominate the will of other. You know the principle of undue influence, right? Situation. Preeti is a devout follower of Guru Ranjan, a spiritual leader. Believing he is trustworthy, she seeks his advice on managing her finances. Guru Rajan suggests that Preeti transfer a portion of her assets to him as spiritual security for future peace. Trusting him and feeling morally obligated, Preeti signs over a portion of her property. Preeti signs a portion of her property. Can Preeti later contest the property transfer, claiming that it was induced by undue influence? It was induced by undue influence. Yes, because Guru Rajan used a position of spiritual authority to influence Preeti. No, because Preeti acted out of faith in her spiritual beliefs. Yes, because spiritual leaders cannot receive property from followers. No, because Preeti voluntarily transferred her assets. Answers. Answers. 1. Okay. 1. Okay. Why not C? Spiritual leaders cannot receive property from followers. Why not C? Why not C? Tell me, why not C? Ma'am, 1 is more appropriate because he used the superior position to claim it. Yes, this answer clearly dominates the C option because of unduly influence principle, that exercising spiritual authority and using the position to influence somebody is the correct answer. Yes, A is the more appropriate one. A is the more appropriate one. Next question. Ramesh, a financially struggling student, seeks financial help from his wealthy uncle, Dev. Dev, knowing Ramesh's desperation, tells him that he will provide financial assistance only if Ramesh signs over future intellectual property rights from any research he completes during his studies. Dev also warns Ramesh that without his support, Ramesh could face expulsion due to the unpaid fees. Ramesh, left with no other options, reluctantly agrees. Could Ramesh challenge the contract on the grounds of coercion, undue influence, or both? What is this? A technical question. Coercion only, as they've used threats regarding financial support. Undue influence only, as Ramesh depended on his uncle for financial assistance. Both coercion and undue influence, as they've used threats and exploited Ramesh's dependency. Neither coercion nor undue influence, as the contract was voluntarily signed. What do you think? What will be the correct answer? What do you think? Three. Okay. C. More answers? Third, both coercion and undue influence. Why? Give me reasons. Why coercion and why undue influence? Give me one reason for both. Why both coercion and undue influence? बताओ reason. Why coercion? Why undue influence? Because he's a student, ma'am. So what? वो उसका टीचर थोड़ी है, वो तो उसका अंकल है. Ma'am, because he was financially dependent on Dev and Dev forced him to sign the contract. That is the reason for coercion. Right? And why undue influence? What relationship that they hold? What is the relationship that they hold? Uncle child relationship, right? A fiduciary relationship where one party is in a position to influence the other, right? And yes, that is why C would be the correct answer. C would be the correct answer. Understood? Undue influence, coercion, misrepresentation and fraud. Understood? Everybody? Those who have joined late, they can watch the session later also as well. Okay. Now, your ALET and SLAT dates are out. ALET is happening on 7th of December if you are 2026 aspirant. 7th of December, right? And your SLAT examination is happening on 13th and 15th of December. Very important update. Start buckling up yourself, and now you have to prepare for these examinations, because now within 2-3 days or a week maximum, the CLAT notifications will also be out, and the expected date for your CLAT examination will be either 30th of November or late December, 3rd week. This can be the chances, but the more chances are that it will be 30th of November. It will be 30th of November. Right? So start buckling up yourself, start pulling up your socks, because now is the time when we'll be bringing up with a lot of practice sessions. We'll be bringing up with a lot of ऐसे resources which will be helping you out to clear CLAT, ALET and SLAT, right? So you do not have to miss these sessions. अगर आप miss करते भी हो तो बाद में इन sessions को watch it out, right? So you have a clear conceptual clarity. You have a good conceptual clarity, right? This was for today's session. In the next session, we'll be completing up with mistake, the another one particular factor which is left. It is a bit longer one, right? And we will solve more questions from these 5, because one passage from this topic is absolutely compulsorily gonna be coming in your CLAT and ALET examination. 100% one passage from these topics. That is why I will complete this one particular topic in the next session, which will be happening next week, right? 100% one passage. Clear? If you have any doubts related to anything, just let me know in the next 2 minutes. I'm here, and then we will wrap up this session. Any doubts? Any doubts? Anybody? Related to CLAT, ALET or SLAT? We'll go through the video and ask the doubts on Monday, ma'am. Yes. Yes, Janvi. Do let me know if you have any doubts. Fine. Chalo. Bye-bye. I'll see you in the next one, right? Next session. Next session's happening next week. We'll bring up with the other subjects, other sections, sessions as well, not just legal. GK current affairs के sessions आपके daily हो रहे हैं. I don't know why you guys don't attend it. Attend the sessions, right? And we'll be bringing up with the other sessions as well, right? Other subject sessions as well. Chalo, till then I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.